Welcome back to the Cheryl and Vicki Show. This show and all month long we've been talking about love and what do you do when something tragic happens to someone you love so much, right? Mm-hmm. How do you turn your pain into a movement, if you will? In May 2017, there was a hashtag that came up that said, hashtag pray for Darius, and the world began to pray. Over 5 million people watched the video that I personally took of my younger brother Darius. Darius was a vibrant pastor, bass guitar player. He loved people. He loved serving God, and he loved singing, and he loved family. And I looked up and I heard the doctor say, we don't know if he's going to make it. And I remember being in that hospital room and screaming and hitting the doctor in the chest saying, what do you mean you don't know if he's going to make it? And with us today is Darius. A lot of people have asked, whatever happened to Darius? What's happening? What's the update with Darius? And with us today, Sister Vicki, we have Darius and his lovely wife, Chandra, with us today to share the story. And what I want to say is, all over the world, I was trying to find out who would be able to share the story of this amazing man who I call my hero. And so to be able to share this story, Sister Vicki, on the Cheryl and Vicki Show means so much more to me than you'll ever know. Darius, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much. And Chandra, same to you.
Thank you.
Chandra, take us back to that day, 2017, and what life was like for you before that moment.
Oh, wow. Well, we had just celebrated our 20-year wedding anniversary. We had been on a cruise, had gone to the Bahamas and everything was wonderful. We had just started our church. Darius is a pastor. And so we had just started our church, and we thought, okay, everything's great. We've been married for 20 years. We've been through everything. So remember, don't ever say that.
Right, never say never.
Because,
never.
Yeah, we were like, we've been through everything. We can just kind of sail through now.
Right.
And then as soon as we got back home from our anniversary trip, then boom, Darius had a heart attack. They called me at work, and it was a mild heart attack. And so he went in. We thought it was going to be a simple cath procedure, but one thing led to the next, and it was not.
It was not.
Yeah.
And so what is life like when I'm the one that took that video of you praying for your husband as the doctors sit and tell you, pull the plug because he'll never be able to talk. He won't know who you are if you don't. And we probably give him 4 hours to live. What is life like for you at that moment? What are you thinking, and how do you get through it?
Well, honestly, I really felt like I was in a dream. It didn't feel real. I couldn't believe it. You were there, as you know. I just couldn't believe what they were saying, and I didn't want to accept it, but the family had already suffered so many losses prior to Darius's event. Yes. And so there was something inside of me that felt like, well, this is it. It's our turn. You know, Darius isn't going to make it. So in that moment, I believed that he wasn't going to make it, until I woke up the next morning and decided that I wasn't going to accept the death sentence that they were trying to give him.
Darius, you know, the doctor said that we should pull the plug, that you weren't going to live. And there were moments that Chandra and I, almost 44 days, we sat by your bedside, your head swollen, not knowing who you were. You didn't know, but we knew who you were. I remember a moment where the doctor said, when I walk in, if we touch his toe and he doesn't move, we can pull the plug. And at that moment, they walked in, look at him laughing, like, and they touched your toe, and you just did a little twitch. And Chandra and I just started screaming, he moved, he moved. And then they said that, well, even if he lives, he'll never know who you are. What is this lady's name sitting next to you? Who is she?
Chandra.
Chandra. And what is my name?
Cheryl.
And if I were to quote scriptures, we said, the Lord is my
shepherd,
and I shall not
want.
He maketh me to lie down in
green pastures.
He leadeth me beside the
still waters.
He restores my soul. Come on, he leadeth me in the path
of righteousness
for
his name's sake.
And yea,
though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
what?
I shall fear no evil.
What?
For what?
Thou art with me.
Thy
rod
and thy
staff that comfort me.
Yes.
Now
thy anointed
my head with all
my cup
runneth over.
Surely
goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
And I will
dwell in the house of the Lord forever
and ever. Oh,
good job, Darius.
Darius.
Good job, Darius.
You are a living, breathing miracle. You know that. I know you know that. And that is right here. We're looking at a miracle and the power of prayer. Prayer is everything when you're faced with adversity. But not only that, that's the testing of faith, right? Faith is faith, right? If God just says if we have the faith of a mustard seed, that's all He requires. But faith isn't really faith until it's challenged, and then you see it
in action.
See it in action, and then you come to this other side. It's just
because Chad, to Vicki's point, the doctors told you that he would always have a feeding tube, and he'd always have the trach in his throat. And do you remember the night when he pulled out the trach and we didn't know?
So actually they were trying to tell us from moment to moment what he wasn't going to be able to do, and then God would defy that. Then they would come up with something else, and then God would defy that. And so they had to try to gain some sort of control. So at the moment that they gave him the feeding tube and the trach, they said, well, just hang it up. He's not going to get any better than this. And so I refused to accept that. I wouldn't agree at all. I would just listen to what they had to say, and I would walk away. And, you know, one night, the thing was in his throat, and I heard a lot of, I slept, I didn't have anywhere to live, basically. I had to live in the facilities with my husband.
Darius, did you know your wife was in the hospital at that time?
No.
You didn't? You just knew people were praying for you?
Yeah.
Darius and Chandra, thank you so much for sharing your story. We have so much more of your story, so please stick around. You don't want to miss this.